So James Gunn's Superman is finally here. It seems to have come round really quickly, and the hype for it has been pretty crazy. It certainly feels like the most anticipated movie of 2025, no doubt, but the lineup this summer is pretty limited. The early screenings and reactions to the film have been very positive, which has got many Superman fans excited, but one review did raise my eyebrow from Empire magazine, awarding it 2 out of 5. I had produced a couple of reaction videos to the trailers in the past few months, which is not something I do on my channel, but my audience were interested in knowing what I thought, because I am a bit obsessed with the Christopher Reeve Superman films. With reacting to James Gunn's new take on the Man of Steel, I was kind of on the fence and didn't want to make any big sweeping judgment calls on it without seeing the full movie, because that would be very stupid. I've been keeping up to date on its production and watching the various interviews, and it got me more intrigued and excited to see it. The Superman costume I've worn to over the months. I still have my issues with it, but the colourful nature of it, and with it keeping faithful to the design, with the trunks and yellow S on the cape, gets extra points from me. So I'm not going to chat about its plot, as I want to avoid spoiling anything, but I will explore the film in more detail very soon with a spoiler discussion. But for now, I just want to give you my initial thoughts. After attending a preview screening, I was wanting this film to leave me with a massive smile on my face, but I left with mixed feelings. Let's get the good stuff out of the way. David Corenswet is a fantastic Superman. He looks the part and plays the part extremely well. He has a large slice of the Christopher Reeve charm and kindness to him, but David is not doing a carbon copy of Reeve like Brandon Routh did back in 2006. It's very much his own take and interpretation. He is the kindest and most humble version of the character in recent years. Rachel Brosnahan, like David, turns in a fine performance as Lois Lane. She captures what we all know about the character very well, standing alongside Margot Kidder and Terry Hatcher as another perfect version of Lois. David and Rachel and their relationship on screen was the highlight of the film for me. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor does the best with what he is given, and gives us a Lex who is a total sociopath, but I didn't find him to be that menacing. Nicholas can play a nasty posh guy with ease, which he did in The Favourite, but Nicholas is such a nice guy in real life, it was difficult for me to find him a real threat to Superman, and he is very angry from the get-go. Not as cold and calculating as you might expect from a traditional Lex Luthor we've seen before. I know some were concerned with the introduction of Krypto, but the dog was another highlight of the film, and works well when it comes to Superman's aid. Seeing Kal-El get frustrated with Krypto does provide some nice comedic moments. It's like any dog owner who gets annoyed with their pet who doesn't seem to do as they're told. There was a concern about this movie being a bit overstuffed with characters, and it kind of is. It struggles to give some of them enough screen time, like Perry White for example. As the film contains other superheroes or meta-humans with Hawkgirl, Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific, thankfully they don't take over the movie. It's very much a Superman film, so it doesn't fall into being another Avengers movie. Mr. Terrific is certainly the standout of the three who gets the most screen time. I wasn't that familiar with him from the comics, but from the preview screening, the audience seemed to love him. The Green Lantern is a funny and stubborn guy who is mainly deployed for comedic moments. Hawkgirl doesn't get much to do, and you don't get to know much about her, other than she is more than happy to kill someone. Let's get to some of the main issues I have with it. It's not an origin story, which I think many of us were happy they weren't doing. We all know Superman's backstory. It may have resulted in a lengthy film, so the movie throws us into a world where Superman has been established and has been around for 3 years. And it opens with a couple of sentences to bring you up to speed, but honestly, that's not enough. You end up feeling you've started watching a TV show, but missed the first batch of episodes, so large chunks of the film feel undeveloped. The main plot is the biggest problem, with one storyline dealing with 2 fictional countries, which is ultimately very uninteresting. We are told about these conflicts but never see anything. James Gunn is clearly trying to reference current events, and the end results are a bit ham-fisted. When it comes to the action, there are a couple of decent set pieces, especially with Superman flying into space with Lex Luthor's henchmen and the battle with the kaiju monster. They are thrilling to watch and well executed. But James Gunn shoots a lot of the remaining action scenes in extreme close-ups, so it begins to get tough to make out what's going on. It begins to get very frustrating with important moments when you want to soak it all in. You are just watching stuff smashed together and people hitting things with fast editing. The end result is a jumbled mess. Gunn brings over action scenes he has done before, with the action being filmed in one take as the camera follows it with a 360 movement. The audience seemed to love it, but for me it felt dragged out, and I had seen it all before. When it comes to the look of the movie, which cost in the region of $225 million, it looks surprisingly cheap with its production design. Outside of the Fortress of Solitude and the Daily Planet, The rest looks very bland with little thought put in. Lex's office and base of operations looks basic and lacking any character. It feels like an afterthought, everything feels small. The majority of the film feels small. You get a great sense you're watching a TV show that's been given a large visual effects budget. With a tight aspect ratio, you get a feeling of being boxed in because Gunn has shot it with the 1:8:5 aspect ratio and not in scope, so it lends itself to that TV format of 16:9. And the cinematography is not amazing. There weren't any shots that really blew me away. The DP shot The Flash, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and James Gunn's take on the Suicide Squad, and those films looked visually more interesting in my opinion. I think it goes in step with the production design, which doesn't offer much to make the film stand out. Superman has not one but two composers involved, with John Murphy and David Fleming, who unfortunately provide a very underwhelming score, easily the weakest Superman score to date. They do make use of John Williams' theme, but seem afraid to use all of it. They use like a quarter of it, and just repeat it over and over again, making it very jarring. The rest of the music has nothing recognisable or memorable. 80% of it is just generic film score music in the background to fill the empty space of the soundtrack. James Gunn loves throwing in pop/rock songs, and the tunes he selected did nothing for me and felt out of place, especially during the end credits where they could have deployed the full Superman march, but don't. John Ottman for Superman Returns did a far superior job of using Williams' music and combining it with his own new material, certainly one of the weakest aspects of the film for me. The visual effects by Weta, ILM and Framestore are pretty impressive throughout. I didn't look at any of it and feel it seemed unfinished or rushed. It blended well with the live action material and worked nicely. Certainly not Oscar-worthy material, but very consistent throughout. Seeing Superman fly is not as thrilling as the old Christopher Reeve Superman films. In this movie, he is always flying at top speed and whipping past the camera. The standout piece is the battle with the kaiju. When we do have those dedicated flying moments, he is right in your face, and it looks strange, and does look very odd. There is a reason filmmakers don't tend to shoot like this. James Gunn has taken the classic elements of Superman and dug deep into his comic book roots to give us a live-action movie ripped straight out of the Silver Age comics and even the animated 90s TV series. He has cast the film really well and written some good dialogue in places with slices of solid humour, but the story surrounding these characters doesn't work very well. It's certainly not a patch on the 1978 Superman film. It's frustrating because there is some great stuff on display, it's just a number of nagging issues and script problems that stop it being a fantastic film for me. I know people who really enjoyed watching it and don't share the same complaints I have, so more power to them. But at the end of the day, it's not a bad start to this new DC universe. I look forward to seeing David as Superman again. I think he is brilliant. I just wish this movie worked better for me. Perhaps on repeated viewing I will warm to it more, but I feel it should have won me over on first viewing, and it didn't quite do that. If I was to rate this film, I would give it 3 out of 5. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to click the like button and hit the bell to be notified of my latest reviews. Big thanks to my patrons and YouTube members for supporting the channel. If you want to get involved and gain access to exclusive videos and take part in Q&As, follow the link below.